Living with a straight guy when you're gay is a special kind of torture. Especially when that straight guy looks like Noah Bennett. Noah was 6'1" with dark hair he was always pushing out of his eyes, olive skin that stayed tan year-round, and the kind of athletic build that came from playing college soccer. He had brown eyes with gold flecks, a smile that made you forget what you were saying, and an easygoing personality that made everyone want to be around him. We'd been roommates for 8 months. We'd met through a mutual friend who knew I needed a place after my last roommate moved out and Noah needed somewhere affordable while he finished his master's degree in architecture. It worked perfectly. We split rent, took turns cooking, respected each other's space. Noah was messy but apologetic about it. I was anxious but tried not to be annoying about it. We'd found a balance. The only problem was that I was completely, hopelessly in love with him. Not that I'd told him that, or anyone, because Noah was straight, very straight. He dated women, talked about women, brought women home occasionally, which was always a nightmare for me because I'd have to hear them through the wall and imagine it was me instead. He had no idea I was gay. I hadn't explicitly told him I was straight, but I also hadn't corrected his assumptions. When he'd ask about my dating life, I'd be vague. When he'd try to set me up with women he knew, I'd make excuses. It was easier that way, safer. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 26, a software developer working remotely, and I've been out to my friends and family for years. But coming out to your straight roommate who you have feelings for, that's a different level of vulnerable. So I kept my mouth shut and my feelings buried and tried very hard not to stare at Noah when he walked around shirtless after his morning runs. Until the night everything changed. It was a Friday in October. I was working late on a project deadline when Noah came home from his graduate seminar looking stressed. "Hey," I said from the couch where I had my laptop, "how was class?" "Terrible, I have this huge project due in 3 weeks and he stopped, ran his hand through his hair in that way he did when he was anxious. "Can I talk to you about something?" "Sure, what's up?" He sat down on the other end of the couch. "So you know my architecture project, the one that's worth 40% of my grade? The museum design thing." "Yeah, so I have to present it to the whole department, faculty, visiting critics, other students. It's a big deal." He paused. "And part of the presentation is I have to bring a model, like a physical architectural model of my design." "Okay, that sounds cool." "It would be, except I'm completely terrible at model making. I can design on the computer all day, but when it comes to actually building something with my hands, I'm useless, and I can't afford to hire someone to make it for me." "So what are you going to do?" "That's what I need to talk to you about." He looked at me. "I know this is asking a lot, but you're good with your hands. I've seen the stuff you make, that bookshelf you built, the table you refinished. You're good at this kind of thing." "No, what are you asking?" "Would you help me build the model? I'll do everything I can. I'll cut the pieces, I'll follow your instructions. I need someone who actually knows what they're doing to guide me through it." I should have said no, should have made an excuse, because spending 3 weeks building an architectural model with Noah working side by side, probably late into the night in close quarters, was going to be torture. But he was looking at me with those brown eyes, and I'd never been good at saying no to him. "Yeah," I said, "I'll help." "Really, you will?" "Yeah, when do we start?" "Tomorrow. I have all the materials, I can show you my design, we can make a plan." "Okay, tomorrow." He smiled that devastating smile and said, "Thank you, Ethan, seriously, you're saving my life." I wasn't saving his life, I was setting myself up for 3 weeks of emotional torture, but I didn't tell him that. We started Saturday morning. Noah spread out his design plans on our dining table, detailed drawings of a modern art museum with clean lines, lots of glass, interesting geometric shapes. "This is beautiful," I said, and I meant it. Noah was talented. "Thanks, now we just have to figure out how to build it at 1/50th scale." We spent that first day planning, breaking the design into components, figuring out what materials we'd need, making a timeline. And I tried very hard not to notice how Noah would lean close to point at something on the plans, how he smelled like cedar and something clean, how his hand would occasionally brush mine when we were both reaching for the same tool. We fell into a routine. Noah had classes during the day, I worked from home. In the evenings after dinner, we'd work on the model together. It was painstaking work, cutting tiny pieces of foam board and balsa wood, gluing them precisely, sanding edges, building walls and floors, and the complicated glass roof structure that was the centerpiece of Noah's design. We worked at the dining table, usually with music playing, sometimes talking, sometimes in comfortable silence. "How did you get so good at this?" Noah asked one night while I was showing him how to make a clean cut on a piece of basswood. "My dad's a carpenter. I grew up helping him build things. I thought about going into it professionally, but then I discovered I could make more money writing code." Do you miss it, working with your hands? Sometimes there's something satisfying about making something physical, something you can touch. Code is abstract, this is real. I get that. That's why I went into architecture instead of just doing graphic design or something. I like the idea of designing things that exist in the world, that people walk through and use and experience. "You're going to be good at it," I said. "Your designs are thoughtful, they feel human." He looked at me. "You really think so?" "Yeah, I do." We kept working, and somewhere around week 2, something shifted. Noah started staying up later even after we were done working on the model. We'd sit on the couch talking about everything, our families, our fears, our dreams. The conversations got deeper, more personal. "Can I ask you something?" Noah said one night around midnight. We'd finished for the evening and were both too wired to sleep. "Sure." "Why don't you date? I've never seen you with anyone, you never talk about anyone, and whenever I try to set you up you make excuses." My heart started racing. "I date, just not a lot." "But why? You're smart, you're funny, you're good looking, you should have people lining up." "It's complicated." "How is it complicated?" I could have lied. Could have made up something about being focused on my career or not having met the right person. But I was tired of hiding, tired of pretending. "Noah, I'm gay." The room went very quiet. "Oh," Noah said finally. "Yeah. I didn't know that." "I know, I didn't tell you, I should have, it never came up, and then it had been so long that it felt weird to bring it up." "Does it bother you that I didn't know, that I assumed?" "No, it's not your fault, I could have said something earlier." We sat there in uncomfortable silence, and I waited for him to make it weird, to suddenly remember he needed to be somewhere, to start being careful about walking around in a towel. But instead he said, "Thank you for telling me. You're not weirded out." "Why would I be weirded out? You're the same person you were 5 minutes ago, I just know more about you now." He paused. "Is there someone that you're interested in?" "There was someone, it didn't work out." "I'm sorry, that sucks." "Yeah." We didn't talk about it again that night, but something had changed, a wall had come down. After I came out to Noah, things were different. Not bad different, just different. He was more careful about assuming things. When he'd talk about dating, he'd say person instead of woman. He'd ask about my type, my past relationships, what I was looking for. And he started being more physical, not in a weird way, just casual touches. A hand on my shoulder when he passed behind me, sitting closer on the couch. The kind of easy physical affection that straight guys often have with each other but that Noah had been more reserved about before. It was driving me crazy. Because every time he touched me, even innocently, my body would respond, my heart would race, my skin would feel electric where he'd touched it, and I'd have to remind myself that he was straight, that this meant nothing, that I was reading into things that weren't there. We were 3 days away from his presentation. The model was almost done, just a few finishing touches and it would be perfect. Noah had been stressed all week, his other classes were piling up, he hadn't been sleeping well, I could see the exhaustion in his face. "You should take a break," I said one night when I caught him staring at his laptop with glazed eyes. "I can't, I have too much to do." "Noah, you're going to burn out, take an hour, watch TV, go for a run, something." "I'll take a break when this is done." "That's what you said yesterday." He closed his laptop and rubbed his face. "I know, I'm stressed, this project is important, and I keep thinking about all the ways I could fail." "You're not going to fail, your design is incredible, the model looks professional, you're prepared." "What if I freeze during the presentation? What if they ask questions I can't answer? What if?" Noah, I moved closer. You're spiraling, you need to breathe. I don't know how to stop. I did something I'd never done before. I reached out and took his hand. Close your eyes just for a minute, breathe with me. He closed his eyes. I guided him through some basic breathing exercises: in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. After a few minutes, I could feel his hand relax in mine. Better, I asked. Yeah, thanks, he opened his eyes. How did you know to do that? I have anxiety. I've learned some coping mechanisms. I didn't know you had anxiety. There's a lot you don't know about me. I want to know, he said. I want to know everything. The way he said it made my chest tight, like he meant it, like it mattered. Okay, I said, what do you want to know? We talked until 3 in the morning. I told him about my anxiety, about growing up different, about coming out to my parents when I was 19, about my first boyfriend who'd broken my heart, about learning to be comfortable in my own skin. He told me about growing up in a family where everything looked perfect on the outside but was messy underneath, about his parents' divorce when he was 15, about feeling like he always had to be the successful one, the easy one, the one who didn't cause problems. I think that's why architecture appeals to me, Noah said. You take all these messy, complicated requirements and you create something clean and beautiful, something that makes sense. Life doesn't make sense though, it's messy, and that's okay. Is it? Yeah, the mess is where the interesting stuff happens. He was looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Ethan, can I tell you something? Always. I think he stopped, started again. I've been having these thoughts about you and I don't know what they mean. My heart stopped. What kind of thoughts? Thoughts about what it would be like to kiss you, too. He stopped. Never mind, forget I said anything. Noah, don't do that, don't say something like that and then take it back. I shouldn't have said anything. You're my roommate, my friend. I'm probably just confused because we've been spending so much time together and… Are you attracted to me? He went very still. I don't know, maybe. I've never been attracted to a guy before, but I can't stop thinking about you, and I don't know what that means. It might mean you're not as straight as you thought. I've never questioned it before. I've always dated women, I've always been attracted to women. That doesn't mean you can't also be attracted to men. Sexuality isn't binary, it's a spectrum. So you think I might be what, bisexual? I think you might be figuring that out, and that's okay. You don't have to have all the answers right now. We sat there on the couch at 3 a.m. and I wanted so badly to kiss him, to tell him I'd been in love with him for months, to make this easy for him. But I couldn't, because he was confused and questioning, and I refused to be the person who took advantage of that. Noah, I said, I care about you a lot, but I think you need to figure out what you're feeling before anything happens between us, because I'm not interested in being an experiment. You're not an experiment. Then what am I? I don't know, but I know when I'm with you I feel different, good different, like I can breathe. That's friendship, that's what friends do. Is it just friendship for you? The question hung between us. I could lie, protect myself, keep things safe. Or I could be honest. No, I said quietly, it's not just friendship for me. The model was finished 2 days before Noah's presentation. It was beautiful, we'd both worked hard on it, but Noah had been right, he needed help. Together we'd created something that looked professional, that showcased his design perfectly. I can't believe we did this, Noah said, looking at the finished model on our dining table. You did this, I just helped. You did more than help, you made this possible. He looked at me. Ethan, about what I said the other night. You don't have to. Let me finish. I've been thinking about it, about what I said, about what I'm feeling, and I think I want to explore this, whatever this is between us. Noah, I know you said you don't want to be an experiment, but what if it's not that? What if this is real? You don't know that it's real, you're questioning your sexuality for the first time. That's huge, that's confusing, and I don't want to be the person you figure things out with and then regret later. What if I don't regret it? What if you do? We stood there in our apartment looking at each other, and I could see him working through it. The fear, the curiosity, the uncertainty. Can I kiss you, he asked, just once so I can know. I should have said no, should have protected both of us, but instead I said yes. He kissed me there in our apartment with the finished architectural model between us, and it was careful and questioning and sweet. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. So I said, "Did that answer your question?" "I think so," Noah said. "I think I might be completely screwed because that was different. Really different, good different. Good." We stood there awkwardly and I wanted to kiss him again, but I also wanted to give him space to process. "I should go to bed," Noah said. "Big day tomorrow, presentation." "Yeah, you should rest." "Ethan, I'm not done with this conversation. After the presentation, we'll talk, okay?" "Okay." Noah's presentation was at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. I'd taken the afternoon off work to go watch. The architecture building was impressive, all glass and concrete and open spaces. The presentation room was set up like a gallery with students' models on display and faculty and critics walking around examining them. Noah's model looked incredible under the gallery lighting, professional, thoughtful. I watched from the back while Noah presented. He was nervous at first, I could see it in the way he held himself, but as he got into the explanation of his design, he relaxed. He was passionate about it, you could hear it in his voice. The faculty asked questions, hard questions, but Noah handled them well. He'd prepared, he knew his stuff. When it was over, his professor came up and congratulated him, said it was one of the best projects in the class. Noah found me after and he was smiling so wide. "I did it," he said. "You did, you were great. We did it, this was a team effort. You designed it, you presented it, I just helped with the building. You did more than that, he stopped. "Can we go home, talk?" "Yeah, let's go home." We sat on our couch and Noah said, "I've been doing a lot of thinking. About what I'm feeling, about my sexuality, about you." He turned to face me. "I talked to my sister yesterday, told her what was going on. She's gay. Did I ever tell you that?" "No, you didn't." "Yeah, she came out when she was 25, and I remember when she told me I was supportive, I didn't care, but I also remember thinking that must be so hard to go through life questioning something so fundamental about yourself. It is hard." She said something interesting when I talked to her. She said sexuality is something you discover, not something you choose, that you can't force yourself to be something you're not, but you also can't force yourself to not be something you are. "Your sister sounds smart." "She is, and she said, when you know, you know. When you meet someone who makes you feel something real, you don't question it, you just feel it." "And how do you feel?" "Terrified, excited, confused, sure, all of it at once." He reached over and took my hand. "Ethan, I don't know if I'm gay or bisexual or what label fits, but I know I'm attracted to you. I know I think about you all the time. I know when I kissed you it felt more right than anything I've ever felt with anyone else. And I know I want to explore this, if you're willing." "What about your family, your friends? Coming out it's not easy." "I know, but my sister did it. She's happy, she's living her truth, and I think I want that too, even if it's scary." "It is scary, people will judge you, people you care about might reject you, it's not a decision you make lightly." "I'm not making it lightly, I've been thinking about this non-stop for 2 weeks, and every time I come back to the same conclusion: I want you, whatever that means, whatever comes with it." I looked at him, this man I'd been in love with for months, who was now sitting on our couch telling me he wanted me back, and I felt terrified and hopeful and overwhelmed all at once. "Okay," I said, "let's try this, but slowly, we take it day by day, we don't rush, we give you space to figure things out." "I don't need space, I need you." "Noah." "I know what I'm saying, I know this is fast, but I'm sure, I've never been more sure of anything." He kissed me again, and this time it was less tentative, more certain, and I let myself believe that maybe this could work. We didn't tell anyone right away. Not because we were hiding, but because we wanted to figure out what we were doing before we had to explain it to other people. We dated officially, he took me to dinner, I took him to movies, we held hands in our apartment, we kissed on the couch, we learned each other slowly. Noah came out to his sister first. She was thrilled, then his parents. That was harder, they needed time to adjust, but they came around eventually. He came out to his friends, most were supportive, a few were weird about it, one friend from college stopped talking to him entirely. "Does it bother you?" I asked after that friend situation. Yeah, but also, if he can't accept me for who I am, then we weren't really friends anyway. That's very mature of you. I learned from the best, he said, kissing me. 6 months into our relationship, Noah graduated with his master's degree, got a job at a prestigious architecture firm, started building the career he'd been working toward. And I was there for all of it, his partner, his person. We moved out of our apartment and into a new place together. Bigger, in a better neighborhood, a place that was ours, not just a roommate situation. Do you ever regret it? I asked one night. We were unpacking boxes in our new living room, coming out, changing your whole life. Never. Do you regret telling me how you felt? No, but I didn't have to come out. I didn't have to rebuild my whole identity. Ethan, I'm not rebuilding my identity. I'm discovering parts of it that were always there. I'm just finally being honest about them. He set down the box he was holding and came over to me. You gave me permission to be myself, to explore, to question. That's the best gift anyone's ever given me. I didn't give you permission, you did that yourself. You helped by being patient, by not pushing, by letting me figure it out at my own pace. I'm glad it worked out. Me too, best decision I ever made. 2 years after that first kiss in our apartment, Noah proposed. He did it at the art museum we'd built together. The model had become a real building, his firm had won the competition and built it, and he got down on one knee in front of the glass atrium we'd painstakingly constructed at 1/50th scale. Ethan Cole, he said, you helped me build this, the model, the building, but more importantly, you helped me build myself. You helped me become the person I was always meant to be. Will you marry me? I said yes. We got married a year later, small ceremony, close friends and family. His sister was his best person, my brother was mine. At the reception, Noah gave a speech. A lot of people ask me when I knew I was bi, he said. The answer is I knew when I met Ethan. Before that, I didn't even know it was a question I needed to ask. But he showed me, not by pushing, not by demanding, just by being himself, by being patient while I figured myself out, by being willing to take a chance on someone who was still learning who he was. He looked at me. Ethan, thank you for being patient. Thank you for taking a chance. Thank you for building this life with me. I love you. I love you too, I said. Because I did, because he'd asked me for help building a model and I'd ended up helping him build a whole life instead. Because sometimes the straight roommate isn't so straight after all. Because sometimes asking for help leads to everything you never knew you wanted.